So, I recently had this horrifying realization that I have a little over 375 hours left before my 18th birthday. While I've long awaited the day that I can call one of those "you must be 18 years or older to order" numbers on TV commercials, to finally buy myself a pair of moon boots, I'm terrified by the idea of no longer even legally being considered a minor. I guess I'll say it outright. I'm afraid of losing my childhood. If you get the chance, dig through your old toys and find your Legos sometime. You'll be surprised that they're still fun. Speaking of digging up childhood memories, while writing this speech, I found one of my favorite childhood books, The Big Orange Splot by Daniel Pinkwater, which is uncannily relevant to my talk. The story is set on a neat street, which it features identical houses along the way. One day, a seagull drops a can of orange paint onto the roof of Mr. Plumbean's house. No one knows why. Mr. Plumbean's neighbors encourage him to repaint his house, but much to their surprise, he takes the big orange spot on his roof as inspiration and renovates his entire house overnight into his dream home. The next morning, neighbors are outraged, calling Mr. Plumbean all sorts of names for daring to break up their neat little street. One by one, the neighbors meet with Mr. Plumbean to try to convince him to undo all of his work. But one by one, Mr. Plumbean manages to convince everyone else instead, and at the end of the book, everyone has their own dream home and is happier than ever living on their not-so-neat street. What should we take away from Pinkwater's tour de force? Well, we should strive to emulate Mr. Plumbean. In the book, everyone ended up happier because they had pursued their interests and expressed their personalities in their assorted homes. But doesn't the whole story seem rather childish? I mean, even the book's illustrations were done entirely in marker. The answer is yep. The book is quite childish. Surprisingly, it's a children's book aimed at children with childlike themes. And that's actually part of the point. Childhood is the period in our lives where we feel that we have limitless potential, and we're still not really afraid to try our ideas. Come adolescence and adulthood, we become afraid of expressing ourselves because we don't want to seem childish. My question to you is, why not? Why not act like a child every once in a while? There's absolutely no reason to think that our potential has been limited in any way as we've grown. If anything, our potential has only grown because we're more capable as adults. Also, look at this, you could even own a pet alligator. Transition. Back in 1990, the science popularizer / astronomer / philosopher Carl Sagan asked the folks at NASA to take a very special picture. At the time, the 13-year-old Voyager 1 spacecraft had completed its primary mission, and it just passed the orbit of then planet Pluto, some 4 billion with a B miles from Earth. Sagan asked NASA to turn the spacecraft's camera back homeward and capture a picture of our planet. The result is one of the most beautiful, haunting, and inspiring images I have ever seen. So here it is. Do you see the Earth? Yes? No? It's right there. It's that thing. That's it. From 4 billion miles away, the Earth doesn't even fill a single pixel of the transmitted image. By pure coincidence, the camera's lens captured the sun's glare bouncing off the Voyager's paneling and cast a beam of light over our humble home. Sagan had 2 gifts above all others. The first was his prose, which summarizes the pale blue dot better than I ever could. The second was his voice, which I also fall short on imitating. In an act of sheer hypocrisy, I would like to bring back some of the emotion Sagan evokes. The technique will be familiar after yesterday, and therefore apologies to Peter. Carl Sagan, pale blue dot. Look at that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you've ever heard of lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. Think of the endless cruelties visited by the inhabitants of one corner of this pixel on the scarcely distinguishable inhabitants of some other corner. How fervent their misunderstandings, how eager they are to kill one another, how fervent their hatreds. It has been said that astronomy is a humbling and character-building experience. There's perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image of our tiny world. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another, and to preserve and cherish the only home we've ever known, the pale blue dot. Sagan wrote those words in 1994. They haven't become any less relevant in 2011. We have this Earth, we decide how we will live out our lives on its surface. While the pale blue dot may make us feel small, you have to remember that it also shows how our few pounds of brain matter managed to figure all of this out. Human creativity and individualism has led to the rise of our species, and in light of all that vastness, we can't afford to suppress our creativity in the fear of what others may think. We can't afford to let arrogance drive our actions. We must harness our individuality for the common good to help make the world a more awesome place, one scavenger hunt at a time. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. It's clear that you have reached a very high level of awesomeness. Ian and Shawit will present this morning's meditation.
We ask your thoughts, meditations, prayers for people throughout the world, for this school and this gathering. We ask your thoughts, meditations, prayers for the poor, the sick, the hungry, and the oppressed.
For those seeking employment, for the elderly, the hungry, the homeless, the sick, and those who care for them.
Think now on any need or trouble. We ask your thoughts, meditations, prayers for the departed and those who mourn.
For the Reverend Peter Gomes, preacher, activist, and chaplain at Harvard University.
Remember those who have died. We ask your thoughts, meditations, prayers for peace, for goodwill among nations, and for the well-being of all people.
For Mayor Bloomberg, Governor Cuomo, Senators Schumer and Gillibrand, and for President Obama, may they govern wisely and seek the common good. For the people across the Arab world and in the Middle East as aging political structures are challenged and overturned. For the people of Libya as their country fights a civil war.
For peace and justice on the earth. We ask your thoughts, meditations, prayers for the earth and all its creatures, that we may live here wisely and sustain our common life. We ask your thoughts, we ask your thanksgivings for all the blessings of this life.
For the road to awesome, adventure, creativity, and humility.
After the benediction, I ask that you please remain seated. And now as we leave this place and go out into the world to become awesome individuals, may the Lord bless us and keep us. May the Lord cause his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May the Lord lift up the light of his countenance upon us and give us peace.